Today I am co-hosting the Bloom with Creativity Challenge, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute after we get through a couple DIYs. First, we're going to start off with this Welcome Summer sign from Dollar Tree. Now, I took off, of course, like the welcome, and you'll see in a minute I'm going to sand off all of the glitter, and I tell you what, I could not bring myself to cover up those sunflowers, so I do end up leaving it because I'm like, well, maybe I'll come back to it later on and make like a reversible sign, so I'm not going to cover it up. But I am going to go ahead and paint the front part. Sorry, my camera is wobbling around a little. I just did a full coat of Adirondack white from Folk Art. And now I'm going in, I'll have a couple of different colors that I'm going to use on this part. I do use this ballet pink color from Waverly. I believe I use the mineral from Waverly. And what's really nice is I actually end up going back and kind of like blending it all in, but you guys get the idea. You know how to paint. And I am going to add all along the trim these stick-on bedazzling. It's not bedazzled, obviously, you guys know that, but it is some really nice like sticker things from Dollar Tree. I do it all the way around. Pay no attention to the bloom from within part because I messed it up because I painted all of these little sticker parts and then dried it with my heat gun and melted the bloom, the bee part of the sign. So, word to the wise, do not use your heat gun anywhere near those stick-on things from Dollar Tree. So here you go. It's not there anymore because I messed it up. That's all right. We're going to use this one instead. And it just says, do not worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. So we're just going to put that all down carefully. And I know what you're thinking right now is if you look around the border, it is like stark white. But that's okay. We are going to do something about that, as I'm sure you can probably imagine. Once I get all of this sticker down, eventually, someday, we're going to go about, kind of sprucing it up a little bit. I really thought that the flower like arrangement around the banner was really pretty, so that's kind of why I ended up doing this. We're going to take our Folk Art antique wax and give it a nice bit of detailing all around that and really get some nice attention to it. Not too much of the wax, as you see. That's one thing that's really nice about it, because it's not like a liquidy paint. It just doesn't go, it doesn't dry so quickly. So if you do end up putting it on somewhere and you're like, oh, that's too much, just wipe it away real quick. It's really great in that way, And of course, I have a nice little spot that is empty, so we're going to add some flowers. That's all about today's challenge is flowers. I'll just trim down some of this little bouquet. I believe it's called a greenery bouquet from Dollar Tree. I did actually just see some more of it in a Dollar Tree, so you can still run out and get some if you can find them. You might find like a little sprig here, a little sprig there of it, but you can definitely still find them. So we're going to just continue to kind of glue it down. At first I was trying to like group it all together before putting it down, and that just didn't work for me. So I'm just going to glue it kind of like piece by piece, layering it. And I know right now the bottom isn't looking so cute and pretty, but that's all right. We're going to cover that up. Once I've gotten them all kind of the way I want, I have this ribbon from Dollar Tree that I am just going to kind of do just a basic like shoestring bow, and we'll cut the tails down to a nice reasonable length, and we're going to glue it down in the middle part, but then we're also going to go ahead and glue down the little tails too, because I wanted them, not to get too much in the way. I wanted them in a certain spot, so just glue them down. And once that is finished, we will be finished as well. Here it is. It turned out really, really nice. I'm very happy with it, despite the mess up. We're going to do one of these little tags. This is from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to do the outside part in this moss from Waverly, or Waverly chalk paint in the color moss. I've got some scrapbook paper. This is just a small pad that I got from Joanne's. I love the scrapbook paper from Joanne's. So if you guys have a Joanne's nearby, I guess it's Joanne. It's not Joanne's. It's no S. I would definitely check out their paper. So I just gotta cut it down just to get a basic, coverage on there, and then we're going to trim it down with just like a craft knife or something along that line. Now I did punch the hole in before like gluing it because I figured that was going to be really hard to match it up. I lucked out. My just regular old hole puncher is really close in size to the hole. It's not perfect, but it definitely figured it is close enough. And then we'll go in with a little bit more of the Antique Waverly wax. Nope, just kidding. Not Antique Waverly wax. It's Folk Art Antique wax. I've been watching too many YouTube channels of people using the Waverly one. But we're just basically going to give it just around the edges of it. I didn't want to do too much in the middle, and I've got this little piece off of one of the Dollar Tree rub-on transfers. It just says Grace. I don't know why, it's just that is what I looked at, and I said, you know what, I like this. I'm going to add it to the front of this tag. And it still needed a little something more. So we're just going to add a little bit of this pearl detail. This is also from Joann's. I got this a while back. I've used it quite a few times, and it's a pretty good amount of these like really small pearl beads. I'm gonna be putting just, you know, glue all the way around. You don't want to put it all the way around the entire tag and then put your beads down. You kind of want to do it as you go. Otherwise, it is definitely going to dry up and make it not stick, and we don't want that. Now, of course, this is looking perfect for a garland, and I used a garland from my last video. I'll link it for you. That way, if you want to check out how I made this garland, I just kind of took off the piece that was already on there from when I did it before. I liked it before then too, but you know what? How many garlands does one person need sometimes? If you're a garland, you know, fanatic, then obviously you need a lot. But I put them places, my kids grab them, and I'm afraid they're going to end up having beads go everywhere. So it is all finished, and it looks just adorable. I love it. Love it, love it. On to our next project. We're going to use one of these little die cut pieces from Dollar Tree. It comes in a nice pack, and I already painted it in this folk art seashell color, I believe is what it is called. I'll link it for you, or list it for you below. And then I did the moss on the leaves, moss from Waverly. And of course, antique wax, just to give it a little bit of dirtying up, just kind of going basically where all of the little cuts are. I thought that would be a really, you know, nice way to give a little bit more detail to it. And of course, you know, we got to tie everything all in. So one project gets the antique wax, probably good, you know, good likelihood that all the projects will get it. And now I have a lid that is just from some random jar that I did a DIY with, and I had the jar left over. I'm just going to do the same white paint that I used the first time around. That's the white Adirondack paint, and going in with the antique wax again and just giving it a little bit of, you know, a little bit of the distressing. Not too much, just a little bit. And I have these gorgeous silver roses from Hobby Lobby. And do you guys ever have like those crafting supplies that you find and you buy and then you're like, I love them so much I don't want to use them? That's what these have been for me. So I was like, you know what? I should probably go ahead and use them because I love them. I think they're so beautiful. And I tell you what, the video in here, it really doesn't even do it justice. They're just absolutely gorgeous. You can find them in like the scrapbooking paper supply area kind of thing, like little embellishments for your scrapbooking. I think they're gorgeous, and apparently you needed to watch me place every single one of them. And they have some you know, like a backing on them that does allow for some stick. That way you don't have to glue them down, each individual one, if you don't want to. And then I was looking at it and I was like, you know what, it needs a little something more. So I'm gonna do just a tiny little bit of black paint. This one is the Waverly chalk paint in ink. And then, of course, I'm going to go in with a little bit of that antique wax too. Not too much, just a little to kind of give a little bit more age to it. I didn't want it to be super stark. I wasn't sure if the black was going to do enough, and then I felt like, you know, it needed a little bit more. And sorry, you got a little headshot there. And I know the wood was not going to like the metal, so I did put on just a little bit of the E6000 along with some hot glue. And then I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, it's gorgeous and all, but I'm really not sure what it's for. So I was like, well, let me add a little trim and a hanger. So first we're going to just add some trim, and this is just going to be just, you know, your standard, you know, ribbon you get from Dollar Tree. It's got a little burlap, it's got a little bit of lace. It's just kind of very feminine, and I thought like this was going to be just kind of perfect for these projects, like this type of lace. And I think I used it in another project or two as well. We're just going to hot glue that all the way around, and of course trim off the excess that we have on the end, finish that off, and then we're going to add on a little piece. Oh, see, I had a piece that was kind of sticking up a little, so just make sure you get, any little bits that don't make sense. I'm going to add my little hanger because it's going to hang from something. I'm not really sure what yet, but it's going to hang from something. We'll just hot glue that in there to give it a nice little loop. And eventually, yep, there we go. We'll hot glue that into our little lid. And you know what? This little lid, like I said, it didn't have a lot of life. Now it has a lot of, fun loveliness. And we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about today's challenge. I am hosting with, actually the main host is Devin, the freckled mom. She does all kinds of fun videos. She posts like 3 times a week. I don't know where she has the time for it, but she's amazing. She does great thrift flips and DIYs, and you're just going to absolutely love her. She's got so many fun ideas. You're going to love her. And I'm co-hosting, so of course I had to show you a little bit about me, especially if you're new here and you are coming over from the challenge, playlist, whatever you want to call it. Welcome. I hope that you will consider subscribing to my channel. I have so much amazing stuff coming up for you in the month of May. You're not going to want to miss it. I'm going to include the link to a video down below so you can get kind of an idea of what's coming up. And now we're going back into our DIYs. I am going to show you what I did with this calendar. I found this calendar at Joanne's. It's a common theme today, I guess. And it was well after the beginning of the year, and it was marked down to like $2, $2.50, something like that. And it is gorgeous. It is like all these beautiful water, it's supposed to be like water art. I don't know why I can't think of what it is. Watercolor. There we go. And what I did is I cut out this one that I decided I liked. I glued it down to some foam board from Dollar Tree. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it down into like slats. Obviously you have to cut off the edge first. And this is just one of those little razor holder kit things from Dollar Tree. It comes in at like a pack of 3. They're a good deal, grab them. It's nice to have something to put like a razor blade in, so you don't end up putting it in like the bottom of a bucket somewhere that has all your, writing utensils. Then you forget about it and you cut off your finger, because that would never happen to me, obviously. So as you can see, I did about a 3-inch or so slat. I'm making kind of like a faux wood panel, I don't know. I'm making like a faux wood sign. And it's going to need some little slats to hold it all together. So I'm going to use just another ruler. This one is maybe about 1 inch or so. So these are just going to be like my cross beams. And I'll just cut them down pretty much the same way that I cut down the first part. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a technique that I've seen another YouTuber do. I will link her below. Her name, I believe, is Peppermint Cactus. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I'm going to link it for you below. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail with how to do this. But basically what it is you're using wax. You're using a clear wax, and you're using either like a paint that you're trying to get a certain color from, or you can use the antique wax to kind of mix it in, dilute it a little bit. And that's kind of like the basic gist of it. You're going to do that to it. We use the sponge to give it more of like this wood grain look. This wasn't a very good example of that kind of project, but if you want to do more of this like really awesome like faux wood stuff, I'll link her channel for you below, and I'll link a video or two of mine that I did a much more in-depth tutorial on it. Now that I've got my little cross beams all set up, I am going to just add some hot glue. And what's really funny is it kind of sizzles. Like when you put it all together, it sizzles because it's so hot compared to the foam board. So be forewarned when you do this that you might get a little bit of a sizzling. It's okay. It's perfectly normal. Once I've gotten the one cross beam down with all the planks, and I wasn't even worried about it being perfect, because I'm like, if it's, a little bit on the rustic side, a little imperfect, that's perfectly fine with me, because is perfectly fine for my decor. You know what I mean. I'll add the hot glue, of course, to all of the bottom parts, and I'll put down, that cross beam again. And then next what we'll do is give it a nice way to hang, just depending on you, that I wanted this to be a sign. Sorry again, my camera keeps shaking a lot because I'm testing out new stuff, new ways of doing things. We'll add that same ribbon that we used on, I believe, the last DIY to each edge. I kind of like measured-ish, I think, about an inch from the edge, like the actual edge of the plank. The pieces that are all the way on one side. I didn't want to just do it off of the edge of the, like that cross beam, because I know, as you can tell, one goes all the way over, the other doesn't. And here it is. It's so pretty. I don't know why. I really thought that this was fun and pretty. We're going to do a bank. This one, it already came this way with like the, rainy day fund. I thought that was precious, and I just didn't want to get rid of that part. And at first I was like, well, can I paint over the paper? Do I have to take the paper off? And at first I was trying to do it without taking off the paper, but I ended up taking majority of the, at least the outside edge off. And I'm going to look through my little pads of paper that I have, same pad I used on the last one that I used paper on. And I just, basically trace it out. I'm going to cut it down a few times just to try to get it as close as I can. It's hard to really get it to fit exactly right, but that's okay. It's a bank. You're not going to see the majority of the inside anyways, because hopefully it's going to be filled with coins. My daughter was so funny when I was making this. She kept wanting me to hurry this one along because she wanted the bank. Mind you, she has a bank, a piggy, that she got for her birthday, her first birthday, I think, and it works just fine. It's not full to the brim or anything, but she just decided, I guess, that this bank needs to be for her. So I do glue it down just basically with a glue stick. I'm not terribly worried about it being perfect because it's going on the inside of the bank. And once that's done, I am going to take some of these stickers from Dollar Tree. It's got a lot of really pretty florals and, like it's almost supposed to be like a little flower shop, and it's adorable. I saw someone, I think on Instagram, do something with it completely different, but I looked at them like, I have those flowers. I like that. I need to use those for something. That happens to me all the time. I look and I'm like, I have that. I should do something with it. So once we stick down all the stickers where we want them, we are going to go in with Adirondack white and give it a full, not really even a full coat, a really messy coat all around, the outside part of the house. Because I wasn't feeling the black on the outside, to be honest. I was like, well, it's not bad, but it's not really working for me on this project. It just kind of depends on what you're making, really. So we'll do that, and apparently I'm going to show quite a bit of it. There we go. And of course, next we're going in with the antique wax, and we're going to give it a really nice, dirtied up look. This is a dirty, rainy day fun bank. I don't really know what else to call it. But I thought it kind of went along, with the whole motif that I'm doing on this, on this video. I thought it would be really cute. And I will probably end up giving this one to my daughter. She, like I said, she was pretty much obsessed with it. And she was like, is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? And I told her, oh, no, it's ready, but I still have to take pictures. She's like, oh. And then I think the next day she asked me, did you take pictures yet? And I was like, no, I haven't taken the pictures yet. She was persistent. So I think that this is probably going in her room, or who knows, maybe I'll make her one that's a little bit more of her style, which of course is like mermaids and unicorns. She has like a lavender room, and she's got mermaids and unicorn stuff, and I got some lights in there. She is a girly girl for sure. And once we've gotten all of the, antiquing done, we'll show you right here that it's finished. It looks very cute. I want to just thank everyone who has been supporting my channel and watching and commenting, and I really, really appreciate you all. I've got an amazing month planned for everyone to come check out. Don't forget, I'm going to link it for you below and up here in the iCards to go and check out the playlist. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're really going to love all of the creations that you see today, and I will see you next time.